So, but we appreciate all that. Next is our Caldwell County Economic Development Strategic Plan and Department Update, and our EDC Director Ashley Bolick's here, and I think the Chair of the Board's here, Dr. Porch. Thank you for coming tonight, Dr. Porch. Good to see you.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. First wanted to thank you for allowing me to be here. I've been with the county for 7 months now, and it's been a very busy and productive, I would say, 7 months. And I'm really confident at this point in my tenure that there's a lot of exciting opportunities for Caldwell County in the future. I'm happy to be a part of it, so thank you for that. So a couple quick objectives to review as we start. I just want to update you on what we've been working on over the last 7 months. Review the proposed economic development strategic plan for the county and mention briefly what's on the horizon. I couldn't do anything without the help of the staff. Pictured here, Randy Knopf, he's our communications specialist there at the top left-hand corner. Jesse Trivett there in the middle, and of course, Bobby White, who doesn't need much of an introduction, but the staff have been phenomenal to work with over the course of the 7 months, and it definitely is a team effort. So quick shout out to them for all their hard work. So when I first started 7 months ago, there were really a couple main directives given to me. Board realignment. So as you're aware, we had the old Economic Development Commission and their advisory board and the Sales Tax Reinvestment Committee. So there was work to be done in that regard. I had to get caught up on the current projects and pending projects. There was a fair amount of housekeeping that needed to be done. And lastly, relationships. You know, can't do anything without relationships. So I needed to know the different people and partners in the community. So going back to that first objective, board realignment, what we had to do here was before we actually joined the two groups, the old EDC board and the sales tax reinvestment, into what we now call the Economic Development Advisory Committee, we had to dissolve two old relics, really, the Economic Development Corp. And a Caldwell Properties LLC. And these were byproducts of old projects. One was the railroad. The second one was property acquisition surrounding Google. So those have now been dissolved. We brought together the two groups, and that required new bylaws. Those bylaws were approved by you on March 13th at your Board of Commissioners meeting. We also had to have new appointments. We have 17 members of our advisory committee, and we'll go over those shortly. And lastly, strategic planning process. When we're bringing two groups together, a good idea is to do some strategic planning work sessions to get everybody on the same page, which is exactly what we've been doing. So as you mentioned, the board chair or committee chair, Dr. Porch, is here tonight. He's the chair of the Economic Development Advisory Committee, and you will hear me call this the EDACT. Vice Chair Mark Transu, Janet Aiken, Alan Merck, Richard Boyd, Rick Coffey, Max Dyer, Jimmy Harrison, Ann Smith, Bonnie Cottle, Chase Weinbarger, Jerry Church, Jonathan Greer, John Blair, Rick Justice, Ronnie Setzer, and Scott Hildebrand round out that committee. As I mentioned, we do have 17 members of this committee. That's one fewer than was presented at our March meeting. Based on the feedback from the board, staff are not recommending that we replace that position. So the next objective was to get caught up on the current and pending projects, and there were a lot. I spent the last 6 months doing a lot of discovery and learning from the past. Bobby and Randy were instrumental in this, but we definitely have our eyes towards the future. So first and foremost, build and reuse. I'm not talking a lot about 1NC grants, job retention grants, Golden Leaf grants, Hope grants, infrastructure grants. These are other grants that we have done in the past, but a lot of what we do center around what I'm about to talk about. First being build and reuse grants. So going back in history, since 2007, the staff have administered 41 build and reuse grants for a total local investment. You may remember there's a 5% match on these build and reuse grants of $781,573, which brought in a private investment of $55,156,294, which is a total return on investment of 6,857%. So as you can see, the build and reuse grants are a great use of resources and really bring back a lot of investment, private investment into the community. When I started in December, we had 5 active build and reuse projects. 2 of those projects we've released back to the state. One of them has successfully been closed. That was Excella Pharma Sciences, and one of them is still active. Excuse me, one of them is still active, and that is ServPro. We, of course, have a couple tax grants, not as many of these, but we do have 2 active paying tax grants. One is Google, and the second one is MDI. Pictured in the presentation, Chairman Church and Commissioner Potter in the presentation of the check to a couple of the Google employees. That was a great meeting. Next, we have the local jobs grants. Since 2008, the office has administered 89 local jobs grants, a total investment of $4,058,000 dollars for a total of 2,029 jobs. As of December 22, we have 7 active projects. 2 have since been released or turned back over. 1 has been successfully closed. That's MDI, pictured here. If you look closely, you can see a couple of your peers in hard hats, Commissioner LaBrose and Wilkie there in hard hats. And we still have 4 of these active today. So when I started, we already had the Evergreen Industrial Property, and this is a partnership between the town of Sawmills and Caldwell County. In January of '23, staff, with the assistance of Western Piedmont Council of Governments, submitted an application for a grant, and this was an Appalachian Regional Commission, or ARC grant. We just heard in the last couple weeks from the Department of Commerce that the Caldwell County Evergreen Industrial Park Infrastructure Project has been recommended to the ARC as part of North Carolina's investment program. So this means that the governor has signed off on it, but that's not the final step. We're still waiting for final approval, and we hope to hear that in August, maybe September, and that'll be a $513,000 grant for infrastructure at the Evergreen project. Central Street Hudson property, I will mention there's a typo on this slide, I apologize, but we are still working to close out the sale of this property, hoping to close on this property in August. When I came in, the staff had traditionally been working, or shall I say, managing a number of events in the county. Important events, but maybe not necessarily related to industrial growth. 2 of those in particular are the Caldwell is Hiring event, which is happens twice a year at the J.E. Broyhill Civic Center, and the second is the Hired Ed event. So my directive was to spend more time on industrial growth and to partner with our good partners in the county to make sure these events still happen, but maybe I'm not leading the charge, so to say. So I'm happy to report that Caldwell Community College stepped up to take on the leadership of the Caldwell is Hiring event. Been working a lot with Rick Shue. Many of you will know him. And we had a very successful event in March. We had over 50 employers, 145 job seekers, and lots of positive comments about this event. So the ED staff, we were there, we worked, we helped promote and market the event, but we did not handle a lot of the day-to-day grunt work, so to speak. The college took on that. Thank you, Dr. Porch. Hired Ed, we've rebranded this as Workforce Wednesday, but this too, like Caldwell is Hiring, we're really sharing some of the workload now. This is a joint partnership with the school system and the college, where we're bringing educators from the classroom out into industry and then onto the campus of Caldwell Community College for 4 days during the next school year. So we can teach them about the wonderful career opportunities that we have here in Caldwell County that match up with educational opportunities at the college. Housekeeping. So as I mentioned, we had a couple housekeeping items to attend to within my first 7 months. We had a staffing vacancy. We were in desperate need of some IT improvements, which includes document imaging, website redesign, and facility updates. Staffing, administrative vacancy. We had a vacancy when I started, and we knew that Bobby White, longtime part-time employee, was planning to retire later this year. At this point, he's telling me probably around September. But we wanted to be strategic in hiring. We also wanted to have someone in the office who had a keen eye and specific duties focused towards supporting existing industry in Caldwell County. That is Jesse Trivett, who's with us tonight. So Jesse is hired as the economic coordinator, and not only is he taking on a lot of the administrative tasks, answering the phone, taking care of our payables, receivables, things like that, but he's also Bobby's understudy and has been working with Bobby closely since he started in March, and will be transitioning into some of Bobby's roles as Bobby retires. When Bobby retires later this year, we hope to backfill that position just with a regular admin. IT improvements and document imaging. On the slideshow, I hope you can tell, but that's just stacks and stacks of folders and stacks of papers. This was a stock image that I got from the internet, but that's not unlike many of the cabinets and drawers and file cabinets that we had in the office at our ED office. When I came in, I quickly realized that we had some technology woes. We had no redundancy, so none of our computers were being backed up on a routine basis. All of our important documents that were not stored electronically were in the building, and if something catastrophic were to happen to the building, then we would be in a world of hurt. So since then, I've worked closely with our IT professionals here at the county. Big shout out to Chris and Brandon, who've helped us get technology in place that can make sure that we're safe in the event of a catastrophic failure. Website redesign, this was a huge undertaking. Another shout out to team member Randy, who took on a lot of the leadership of this project. Staff spent the month of December evaluating various vendors whom we wanted to work with, and we settled with a company called Golden Shovel, who's known throughout the industry for working specifically with economic development organizations. This project was long overdue as our website was over 14 years old and failing. We were hoping every day that it didn't crash because we didn't have anybody with the capacity to fix it. It was important for us to consider the county's new website. We wanted to make sure that we had a consistent look and feel. For a long time now, our department has felt maybe as an outside department, and we wanted to change that. We definitely want to make sure that everyone knows that economic development is housed within Caldwell County government, and we are a proud part of Caldwell County government. One of the things that I'm real excited about using Golden Shovel for is their content development. So they're going to help us over the course of the next year develop content that's shareable on our website and social media platforms that will draw, hopefully, people to our sites, making us attractive to developers. Lastly, but not leastly, facility improvements. So as I mentioned, it's been a partnership, the facility improvements. Our office is located in a shared workspace with the Caldwell County Chamber of Commerce and NC Works Career Center, and our building's owned by Caldwell Community College. So when I came in and took a look around, much like our website, our building looked a little dated. And that's certainly not the first impression that we want anyone to leave with who comes to our facility, either to the Caldwell County Chamber of Commerce or to Caldwell County Economic Development. When our jobs daily are to sell Caldwell County and to recruit people to Caldwell County, we definitely need to be putting our best foot forward. So with our strong partnership with the community college, the chamber, and Caldwell County government, we've put together a plan of action, and we're underway on our facility updates. A lot of these things have already been done. Some of them are still to be completed, but those are interior painting, flooring repair, demo of old built-ins, kitchen makeover, parking lot work, thank you, community college, HVAC and roof repair, exterior wash and paint, and of course, new furnishings. You can see in the image on the PowerPoint slide a bronze that's housed within our lobby. The building was built 30 years ago this September by a capital campaign that was run by the Chamber of Commerce. And on that bronze is listed a lot of our industrial partners in the community, all of our local governments in the community, everyone that contributed to that capital campaign. In celebration of those founders from 30 years ago, as well as our partners and elected officials today who are continuing to contribute, and understand the importance of commerce in Caldwell County, we're planning a grand reopening and 30th anniversary celebration. So this September the 28th at 11 a.m. in the parking lot of the Commerce Center, we invite you and everyone to join us for that 30th anniversary and grand reopening celebration. The fourth directive was building relationships. This is understanding who our partners are in the community, working with our local governments, who are business and industry leaders, and building a support network for myself and staff. It's what I've discovered. Economic development is definitely a team sport. Something that I can't do alone, we as county government can't do alone. We have to bring along our partners. So this has been a very important part of the last 7 months. I've had lots of meetings, lots of lunch meetings, but I think it's for a very important reason. Who are our partners? I won't go through the whole list, but I have put a few of their logos on this slide for you to see. I've had one or multiple meetings with these folks in the last 7 months, trying to figure out how we can work best together. What have we done in the past? What's worked? What hasn't? What ideas do they have for economic development in Caldwell County? Local government conversations. You know, Caldwell County is wonderful, and so are municipalities within it. All of our municipalities, except Cedar Rock, have a seat on the EDAC, or the Economic Development Advisory Committee. So having conversations with those managers and elected officials as to what they see the vision is for their community, and how we can all work together to make their community and Caldwell County as a whole better. Industry conversations, that's why I'm here, right? Growing our industry in Caldwell County. We have a strong heritage of manufacturing and industry in the community. I've had numerous conversations with these folks here, as well as others not pictured. Had an opportunity in February to celebrate with Fairfield Chair, as they were recognized by the governor for an export award. So congratulations to Fairfield Chair on receiving that prestigious award. Just 2 weeks ago now, several of us were able to celebrate with JBS for a ribbon cutting and grand opening. Since, let's see, I'm trying to think here, 2014, the county has partnered with JBS on a number of projects, 3 projects total, incentivizing 144 jobs for a total of $288,000. What we were celebrating here in this image is a $65 million private investment into our community and an additional 80 jobs. So congratulations to JBS and Wild Fork Foods. Oh, I know I've been talking for a while now. I'm trying to wrap it up, I promise. But I think this is important. This is the segue to the strategic plan. Like I said in the beginning, it's been a busy 7 months, and I've loved every minute of it. But as it says here, being productive and being busy are not necessarily the same thing. Doing things won't create success. Doing the right things will. So what are the right things? What will create success in Caldwell County as it relates to economic development? Enter the strategic plan. So why have a strategic plan? What's the purpose? One, this was a large part of discovery for me, understanding and getting to know the EDAC members, understanding what they bring to the table and what their unique gifts and talents are as far as economic development goes. This was a good practice to bring 2 separate groups together into one unified group with one unified focus. This strategic plan gives me and the staff clear performance measures and metrics. We know how and what we should be spending our time and resources on, not spending time and resources on things that aren't clearly related to the strategic plan. As far as grant funding goes, when we have a strategic plan and we're applying for a grant and we can tie the grant application back to the strategic plan, then it's a success. This is a living document that we can adjust as needed from time to time and plan on. What a strategic plan is not, it's not a mandate or a directive. Just because it's listed in the plan as a possible strategy does not mean that the department or staff or the county are committed in any way to any particular project. It's just something to consider. So the process quickly, the new EDAC was formed April 1st of this year. We started working with Western Piedmont Council of Governments, their Executive Director Anthony Starr, who was a third-party facilitator for our work sessions. He did a modified SWOT analysis. The staff and I compiled the information received from that SWOT analysis and drafted a plan, submitted that plan to the EDAC on June 13th with their unanimous approval, and here we are tonight presenting the strategic plan to you, the county commissioners. Some key takeaway notes from that May 9th strategic work session. During the SWOT analysis, we had a number of things listed as threats, weaknesses, problems to address, but for sake of consideration, we've just listed the top 6 here. A full list of those things were listed in your agenda packet. But lack of housing, lack of building sites that are ready, lack of childcare and how that impacts the labor participation, attracting younger employees and professionals, lower salaries compared to other counties, and population decline. Also, opportunities and projects are priorities, supporting existing industry for job growth, finding new sites for industrial development, helping people understand about the jobs and the training available within the county, utility projects like water, sewer, and fiber, collaboration between communities, and making our communities and counties attractive. Code enforcement and Main Street programs, for example. So from all of that, we come out with 4 focus areas. Existing industry support, site development and recruitment, public awareness and marketing, and the catch-all other opportunities for collaboration, education, and support. So there isn't anything cutting edge here. A lot of the staff time had already been dedicated to working on these types of projects, but this gives us clear focus and objectives and things to work towards. I'll note, and you'll see in the actual draft plan a couple symbols in the footer. Those indicate that that item has a shared strategy. For example, if it has an asterisk, it's a shared strategy or action from the 2022 Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or CEDS, which is developed by Western Piedmont Council of Governments every 5 years, and a couple of you have served on that committee from time to time. So just wanted to point out that several of the strategies are not unique, but they come from other documents, for example, the 2020 Caldwell County Comprehensive Plan. So the existing industry support, and I promise I'm wrapping it up. ED experts will tell you that there are efficiencies and greater return on investment when supporting existing industry versus recruiting new. I think a healthy economy has to have both. We have a strong and healthy existing industry base in Caldwell County. 23.3%, or over 8,000 of our residents who are employed in Caldwell County work in manufacturing or a position that supports manufacturing. To identify and develop tools and resources is an example or a possible strategy listed here. In other areas, for example, Catawba County EDC, they do an annual wage and benefit survey that's used to support their existing industries and their own practices when they're evaluating their benefit packages and their wages. To promote or market local area careers and labor market details, this too is a way that we can reach our students, parents, and educators. And a project like Hired Ed or Workforce Wednesday, we're already doing this, but we could definitely put more resources towards it. The second largest sector of employment in Caldwell County is education and health care. By promoting these details, in addition to the local training opportunities at Caldwell Community College and other institutions like ASU and Lenore Ryan, go Bears, we can help the current industry that we have here in Caldwell County retain workforce and retain population. Site development and recruitment. The county has in recent years really started to work in this area. I've mentioned already the Evergreen Industrial Park, but I'm going to tell you we're behind. We are behind in this area. As of this morning, we have 9 industrial properties on the market. 6 of those 9 industrial properties are under 50,000 square feet. That's important. Because as of today, there have been 30 state requests this year, So the State Department, who's requesting local EDs to submit information about properties that they can tell an incoming industry to North Carolina about. There's been 30 of those requests from the state this year. Caldwell County, we have responded to none of those. There's a variety of reasons that our inventory just doesn't match what they're looking for. But number one is our building size. As I mentioned, 6 of the 9 properties that we have listed are under 50,000 square feet. Of the 30 requests we've had this year from the state, 21 of those are looking for an existing building, the average building size, 275,000 square feet. We just don't have the inventory. Big building. Public awareness, marketing, or branding. So with the efforts of the ED team member, Randy Knopf, we have done a really good job in this area. We have a very strong following on our social media platforms, and we're hoping to build that with our website, but there's still more we can do. We are well underway with the new website, and we've created a LinkedIn profile this year. Conversations have swirled for years related to a regional branding effort. I recently saw this in person when I traveled down to Chatham County and saw the NC Carolina Corps and how that works. I think with changing leadership and a renewed sense of partnership and collaboration, this too could be something that we in Caldwell County could benefit from. We have a wonderful opportunity sitting between 2 ASU campuses. We need to market that. As a county, we could benefit tremendously from the expansion of the ASU in Hickory. We all know about the amenities and reasons why folks should consider Caldwell County not only as their home, but as a place to grow their business. But how cool would it be if we had universal talking points that we created and distributed to all of our partners, that we could all be singing from the same hymnal. We could all be talking about the wonderful things that we have going on in Caldwell County. Other opportunities for collaboration, education, and support. The fourth and final, I promise the final, area in which we would like to focus is kind of a catch-all. These possible strategies are areas staff feel we can contribute to our partners. We may not drive the boat on these. For example, as I mentioned earlier, Caldwell is hiring. We may not be the key organizer. We may not be the one making all the decisions, but we can certainly support it and help it be successful. Another example of that would be housing. It may not be my job to focus on residential development in Caldwell County, but I can support housing growth by promoting the Western Piedmont Council of Governments Housing Toolkit, by supporting the Caldwell County Home Builders Association, by exploring unified development ordinances within the county. It's not within my means either to create a public transportation system in Caldwell County, but I and the staff can help evaluate the feasibility of doing such a thing. These strategies are ones we would like to support, as I said, our partners as they achieve benchmarks and metrics. So what's on the horizon? We are working with Western Piedmont Council of Governments currently on an industrial site study. We hope to have the results of that this fall. This is a complete inventory of properties on the market and properties not on the market that might be primed for industrial development in Caldwell County. Foothills Regional Airport feasibility and targeted marketing analysis. This is a partnership with Burke County, City of Morganton, and City of Lenoir, where we have jointly decided or agreed to fund this feasibility study to see if we can get some development there at the airport. We've been sitting on that property for a very long time and nothing's happened there. So let's see if we can come up with a plan and execute that plan to get some development out at the airport. It's a real asset and a real jewel. Lastly, the ED, Economic Development World Tour. I've had a number of requests to come and give presentations to our local civic groups and to our local governments about what's Caldwell County doing with economic development. Hopefully, with your approval tonight of the strategic plan, I'll be able to go to our local governments and our civic groups and say this is what the county's doing related to economic development in Caldwell County. So at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, and I'll close just by again requesting that you, the Board of Commissioners, review the draft strategic plan, provide any feedback that you have, and of course, hopefully approve the plan.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Ashley or?
Well, Ashley, you've done a great job, you and your team and the Economic Development Advisory Committee. You don't need to apologize for a lengthy presentation because it's been a while since any of us have heard anything and the updates. So no need to apologize. I think you
Thank
did a
you.
great job, very organized, very thorough, and I'll be more than happy to support the strategic plan and looking forward to the months and years to come because this is what we're doing for our future, our future generation, our future young men and women that choose to stay here in Caldwell County, that we build a future for them in economic development. So it's all part of the plan. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Anybody else?
I was going to echo what Mike said, but I just want to tell you I appreciate you recognizing your staff and your team. That's an important role in what we do every day is recognizing the people who are actually doing the work.
That's right.
Yeah, so
Yep.
thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll just echo what they are saying, Ashley. I mean, you've got a lot of things that are variables in the strategic plan and a lot of points that I think certainly address some needs that we have in the county. And we as a commission board are going to have to work towards some of those too and continue helping you to be able to facilitate that. And I know one of those things that our county managers talked to us about is housing standards and various things. And I know you mentioned that in your strategic plan. And we know that we've got some residents and folks in our county that's concerned about some of these issues. So it's an all-encompassing thing, but I certainly appreciate the work that your staff has done on that. And Dr. Porch leading the board there to help facilitate and bring a good strategic plan to us to be able to review and approve tonight. And as you said, gives us some talking points in a unified way. And that's often a problem that we've had is we've not ever been unified. It don't seem like some of our communities are a little bit outside of where the unity is. So if we can all get unified going in the same direction, we can make big things happen.
Agreed.
And
Yep.
we appreciate that, the relationships that you're building with everybody.
Yeah, the chairman's right. You know, we talk about this quite a bit. We don't do a very good job of telling our story. You know, we know what's out there, right?
Yeah.
But we don't do a very good job of telling the story. And we had this conversation when we were looking at hiring doing the posting for the new DSS director. And we talked about, you know, the importance of telling our story.
Right.
So I think the strategic plan really helps us brings that together. And to his point, we kind of get on the same page. So thank you for all your hard work on this.
Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate all the effort that's gone into this and all the time that's been spent. And with that, I'll make a motion that the board approve the proposed Caldwell County Economic Development Strategic Plan as presented.
All right, hearing the motion, any other comment or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries unanimously. So thank you again, Ashley.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all for your
Well
support.
done.
Appreciate it.
Good job.
Next is our tax director, Josh Angle, with our 2022